Thank you. Okay, hello everyone. So my name is Levent Gurgen. I'm from CA, which is a large research institution in France. I will be today talking to you about smart cities, in particular our experience by using an OSGi based platform for different applications that we have developed, deployed in some collaborative projects, in particular with European and Japanese cities. By the way, we are a recent member of OSGi Alliance and trying to be quite active in the IoT expert group. Okay, so this is the outline of my talk. I will start by giving you some requirements for smart city platforms that we were enough lucky to be involved in concrete projects with the cities, so we could collect these requirements from the cities themselves. And then I will be presenting to you our OSGi-based platform for smarter cities and some deployment examples. And I will finish with a recent initiative that we are launching about an alliance around smart cities. Okay, so some facts and figures to show you that we indeed need cities to be smarter. Some facts, yes, more than half of the world population lives in cities, so this has direct impact on the urban citizens' life. Different domains has problems, huge water leakages that could be managed, that could have managed more efficiently. In the energy domain as well, Europe already import 50% of its energy and expected to reach 70% by 2030. And huge impact also environmental and economic point of view within the transportation domain. Typically, you know, Europe and US drivers spend from 5 to 10 working days per year stuck in the traffic looking for parking space, etc. So all these can be better managed by using latest technology, IoT, big data, etc. So, so what we have to do indeed to be smart, indeed we have to be aware of all going around, indeed. So we need these sensors of the city. We have a huge amount of data sources that are available, not only IoT devices, but we have also a certain number of existing legacy devices, World Wide Web, mobile applications, social networks that provide these sensors of the city. What we need is indeed to collect this data, to analyze, and to extract some high-level knowledge from this raw data, and then make some actions that have some desirable effects on the urban life. And all this having the citizens in the center and provide them services from different domains like security, building, healthcare, transportation, etc. So besides these functional requirements, let's say we have also a certain number of non-functional requirements. So these systems should be dynamic and plug and play. So we are dealing with the physical world, which is quite dynamic. Every day we are seeing new platforms, new standards emerging, new manufacturers coming with their own APIs, own data models. So heterogeneity is a reality today, and we have to be interoperable and work with all of these different standards. Openness is an important requirement in the smart city domain. In particular, the cities, they do not want vendor-locked solutions. They want open platforms to make their local innovative ecosystems use those platforms and tools. It should be scalable. It should be self-adaptive. As I mentioned, we cannot expect that, for example, human administrators that will be managing billions of devices. So the system should be self-optimized, self-configurable. So OSGi has the right answers indeed for many of those non-functional requirements in particular. Powerful runtime environment, providing this dynamic application lifecycle management, easy to interoperate thanks to this loosely coupling between the service implementations and the interfaces, so that we can abstract all of these heterogeneous devices behind service interfaces. It's open specifications, open APIs, many open source implementations. Indeed adapted to this open platform model, which can host added value services from third-party providers. Modularity reducing the complexity of development, and also having this increasing number of developer tools. Adapted to the distributed processing, it can be adapted to low resource constraint devices till the cloud level. And again, this modular development and deployment environment provides this enhanced system maintenance and self-evolution, and provides us the service-oriented approach, provides us the flexibility of adding, removing, updating services with a minimum impact on the running platform. So we cannot expect that we stop whole city platform to add just a new support for a new protocol or new types of devices. So all of these are provided by the OSGi. So we have adopted this as the baseline of our IoT platform. So indeed, these are probably protocols that you know already. The physical kind of wireless protocols, as well as some IoT platforms to which we can access together data by using more high-level protocols, so that we provide this access, homogeneous access in real time, on demand, periodically or event-based, as well as to historic data by using our platform. And besides this, what we call southbound protocols, we also support a certain number of northbound protocols in which the developers can use their favorite protocol to access all of these heterogeneous devices in a homogeneous way. And we also provide an environment, a tool for rapid and dependable application building, in which we can use this tool to manage the life cycle of the devices, of the applications. We can build the applications by using a specific DSL to rapidly create some rule-based applications, deploy them in the platform, and manage their life cycle. So we have this modular architecture, indeed, providing this. All these are indeed provided in terms of bundles. So tomorrow, when we decide to support a new protocol, we add it in even this in runtime to the platform, and it works in a plug and play manner. And this can be kind of personalized. So not every city needs all of these protocol support. So we can personalize and instantiate only the necessary protocol support. We have some extension points, indeed, that we allow also to rapidly create new support for protocols, new data models, and as well as some what we call the applications. They are kind of some specific processing of data. So we can allow developers that are mainly coming from the domain that can include their own processing modules to the platform. So we have this service-oriented approach, the device as a service. So each device, what we call service provider, it can be physical or virtual devices, they expose their functionalities in terms of services, and each service exposes a certain number of resources. So the resources can be an event, it can be an action, it can be a property data, or it can be some kind of state variable, so that we can interact with those resources by using some generic APIs. So maybe I will just go to this. Okay. Yeah, I don't have it. Anyway, so we have a kind of a generic API in which we can do a certain number of actions to these resources. So either we can subscribe to them, we can do some actions on the actuators, we can also get or set the different parameters of those resources. And with this generic API, indeed, we have all this interaction possibility with these heterogeneous devices in a unified way. So we are abstracting, indeed, this the processes from the underlying technology. So with this service-oriented approach, for us, everything is sensing and actuating services. So if you want to make an application, it's typically composing those sensing applications with some processing and then making some actions. So as I mentioned, so we are providing APIs, REST APIs, it can be OSGi APIs, It can be also, you can access with WebSockets, MQTT, XMPP, so different protocols are supported. So that developers use those APIs to gather data, and as well as either they can create their own application, or they can use our tool to rapidly build some rule-based applications. So what we are currently doing is indeed we are providing access to various city live data in real time. So with many collaborative projects, we had kind of obtained a base of city data with the city partners that we have all around the world. So in particular, Japan and Europe. So we have, for example, in Santander, thousands of devices already deployed about parking space availability, bike sharing data, temperature sensors, environmental data, sensors that are deployed on the buses or on the lampposts. So we have access to all of this data in Santander, in Genova, in Aarhus, in London as well, and also some data from Japan. Again, for example, air quality detection sensors deployed on the garbage collection trucks that goes around the city every day, so that we can have a kind of pollution map of the city in real time. So we can have access all of this data in real time. So indeed, to build this base, we have worked in within different collaborative projects in which we work with those cities. These mainly from the smart city domain. These are the cities that we work with. We have a recent now a deployment in Champs, which is a ski resort in France, French Alps. We are working also with a manufacturer of sensors for ski shoes, so that with these sensors we can detect how the skiers ski with speed, localization, how much time they stay on the air, how they make the movements, etc. So all this data we can gather, and we provided this data to our platform in order to provide recommendations to the skiers, but also information to the ski resort operator to give them information about the crowdness, for example, or emergency situations. We have also a button on the sensor. So this kind of data helpful for not only for the end users but also operators. Another deployment we did in 3 train stations in Japan. We are gathering environmental data. Doing also now a deployment, a LoRa network in a vineyard in Bordeaux, that measuring different parameters, humidity, temperature, also some information about the kind of damaged plants with some smart cameras, and also some sensors deployed in the caves for the wine. All of this we are collecting with our platform. Some smart home related applications, 2 houses that are equipped with some sensors and actuators that allows us gathering that data by using heterogeneous protocols, some Japanese specific protocols, as well as some protocols like KNX and Enocean. And recently a new project that we started about the elderly, well-aging domain, let's say, in which we are aiming to provide more autonomous life for elderly people and monitoring their daily activities and providing comfort and security. And we are now doing some lab environment tests, and in a year of time we will be deploying our platform in 100 houses, real houses, in the Grenoble area in France. So maybe a bit more details on the applications that we have developed in this project. So this was the Clouty project that I had the chance of coordinating, which has ended last year, in which we had indeed this, as I mentioned, all of these sensors that are deployed in the city of Santander, so that we can access all of this data with our platform, environmental monitoring, some smart irrigation related sensors in the public gardens, mobile nodes on city buses, taxis, parking sensors, traffic sensors, etc. Similarly, in Genova, we have a certain number of environmental related data, as well as some webcams, and some information display screens in the city. This is what I explained you earlier about these pollution sensors on top of the garbage collectors. So we have done a certain number of trials within those cities, and we used our platform to gather all of these heterogeneous data and providing this unified APIs to the application developers to build some city dashboard or some other applications that they have built. So from this CloudT project, we have created the follow-up, which is Big CloudT, in which we are adding big data capabilities. We are focusing more on indeed predictive analysis, complex event processing, and we have included some new cities, Fujisawa, Tsukuba, Grenoble, and Bristol cities. So there are some interesting use cases. For example, as I mentioned, we don't have only IoT devices to provide real-time information about the city, but we have also what we call crowd sensing or participatory sensing type of applications, in which the people themselves, they are kind of sensors. They detect some events, they detect some problems in the city, they want to give some information about their city to the high level to make it useful for any application. So on this we have, for example, what is called Mina Repo. The city staff, they detect some problems in the city and they provide this information in real time to the administrative staff. Similarly, Lokemon is a kind of Pokemon type of application in which the citizens, they interact with some Lokemon kind of characters which are located in different places in the city. And what they do is they communicate with them. They say that, okay, in this place, for example, is there a queue, or in this area there's a kind of broken sidewalk or broken not taken garbage. So this kind of information they provide to these characters, and from the other side, if anyone wants to get information, they communicate with this kind of avatars. So it's a kind of incentive way of allowing people to be more active in the city life. Yes, so okay, we have also another project in which we have used our platform as an IoT gateway, which provides, as I mentioned, a kind of a unique gateway to different protocols, a city scale testbed, as I mentioned, Santander City, as well as these two houses, PTL and iHouse, in which we could use the same platform to interact with devices that the functionalities are similar, right? They are lights, they are air conditions, they are TVs, etc., but they communicate with different protocols. So we provide this kind of middleware layer to allow to the experimenters that they have some home automation application or a security application or a smart city application that they would, what they need is the data, and the data is available in heterogeneous formats, and the access, you have to know about the protocol, etc. So what we provide is unique interfaces to allow those experimenters that they do not have and they do not need to have this specific knowledge on the protocols and the data models. So not only IoT data, but we also federate some open data and also IT resources. We provide them some virtual machines, communication, computing power, storage power, etc. So these are kind of the application that we have developed. As I mentioned, the smart city station application, smart energy management, in which we kind of try to understand the behavior of the data centers in terms of energy consumption for cooling in particular. So we have developed also a privacy-friendly camera, let's say, that makes some local processing without sending data, image data, to a cloud server. We have also an artist in the project, for example, who used some images and also some real-time sensor data to provide some special effects to his artwork. We had also provided the route recommendation application in Santander City by using an existing open data which had been enhanced with some dynamic information from the shops of the city. So they create kind of dynamic offers, and we use this information we provide this information to the citizens by providing them recommendations to go from point A to point B by taking into account their interest profile and available offers, for example. So this experimentation platform is open for everyone. So the objective is indeed to provide this platform to SMEs, startups, researchers that they need data. They have all they need. I mean, they have algorithms, they have tools that wants to make this analysis of data, but they need data, and the data we have, and what we would like that these experimenters, they exploit the data that we provide. So you are free to check out our website, and you can start to use it. Yes, this application I already mentioned to you. So as I mentioned, we are deploying this LoRa network to gather different source of information from the skiers, in addition to other information about the station live. So with this kind of tag, LoRa-based tag, we can indeed localize people. We can detect crowded parts. We can localize friends, family. We have some emergency button available also on the device. And the other use case, as I mentioned, making this ski performance monitoring. And this is a EU-Korea project in which the Winter Olympic Games of 2018 will take place in Pyeongchang. So we will make a simultaneous deployment between EU and Korea during the games to compare some performance between the Korean and particularly French skiers. So this is the how it looks like. This is our LoRa Gateway. This is how it looks like the tag, so that we can attach it everywhere. So there is this one is mainly for the ski shoe, and this is mainly for localization of people. One specificity of this is that this will be probably the first prototype that supports both frequencies of LoRa band in in Asia and also in Europe, because they work in different frequencies. So this roaming does not exist yet. So it will be probably the first prototype that will be tested. And another interesting use case of this is indeed to use it for luggage tracking. You know, if you go from Asia to Europe, for example, if you have this attached to your luggage, you will never lose it, for example. You can be notified when it arrives, when it follows you, etc. So we will also use another device that will detect the crowdedness of the area with using Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity. So we have some other use cases. So we have a video actually illustrating all of these use cases, so you can also check it out at the project website. So Sensinet platform has just joined Eclipse as an open source project, so all contributions are welcome. We are indeed looking for support for new IoT type of protocols, as well as our tool that I mentioned, in which we use Xtex for the specific DSL, for example, and is an Eclipse RCP based tool. So we are looking for contributions and having new partnerships from the Eclipse and as well as OSGi community. So yes, you have all the information necessary and describing the architecture, the data model, etc., and also a Swagger API available, REST API available to, you can already access all the data that I mentioned. They are available within the some running instances that we have in different servers. And another point that I would like to mention to you is indeed with our partners that we have built those projects, we are now creating a global alliance. What we have observed indeed is that we want to provide a kind of sustainable forum, sustainable way to continue with all the developments that we do in these projects. And what we have observed is that indeed the cities in particular are aware of the potential of IoT, ICT in general, for making their life easier, more secure, more comfortable. But they are a bit lost because there are, you know, many actors, communities, standards, alliances. So we would like to provide them a kind of one-stop showcase for a comprehensible set of integrated open solutions in particular. So we would like to organize some pilot deployments and test beds by having the cities on board directly. So bringing together this demand and supply side, and build some teams that would provide some complementary functionalities. You are a hardware provider, software platform provider or tool provider, a network operator, and the city, so that you build and also some startup, for example, that has some innovative ideas in mind, so that they build these teams. They have a particular use case in mind, and the city provides this infrastructure as a test bed, it's physical experimentation space, and then we showcase those applications, proof of concept, and then this also provides networking possibilities among those different actors. Indeed, this will provide this direct contact between the city authorities and solution developers, which is missing currently. In particular, in order to make them both understand, to try to elaborate a common language that would bring indeed together all of these different actors, creating business ecosystems, organizing events, etc. So, in particular, as I mentioned, what is important is that nowadays all cities, they are, as I mentioned, aware of this, the importance of this digital transformation that they have to start. But they need this neutral guidance, unique, comprehensible place. As I mentioned, openness is very important for them, in particular for their local ecosystem. And they are looking for exchanging those best practices with other similar cities and testing in their field those applications. In addition to this, indeed, with the startup members that we have in those projects, they have those ideas, but they need this. They don't have necessary investment capacity to create a hardware or a network infrastructure, so they need these open platforms and tools. And what they are looking, indeed, backing their business with a great community is one of the reasons why we have this kind of communities in which they could join forces and create kind of end-to-end solutions. Having this direct contact with the cities to identify their real needs, and having this international visibility as well, which is important for the profitability. Similarly, for the large industry, indeed, they also understood, some of them, let's say, the value in the ecosystem. So this creation of ecosystem has become an important objective, let's say, for many of those large industry which has done large investments in terms of hardware, IoT networks, cloud infrastructure, etc. That some of them, indeed, they are providing them as an open source, open hardware type of platforms to indeed attract more developers to use their investments, and also looking for partnerships for complete end-to-end solutions. And for sure, one of the points in which they are interested is indeed validate those prototypes in real-life conditions, which is kind of very important. If you want to do smart city applications, you need to test them in the city environment. And also, indeed, researchers, as I mentioned, they have the algorithms, they are working on creating new models, etc. But they need indeed those data, real-life conditions to validate their research. And they are quite important. They have a quite important role in this kind of initiatives because they can provide this trustful guidance. So, for example, for CA is an important role to play in France, in particular, to guide those cities, and they would trust us more than they would trust to big companies. So, for this, we have an important role to play. Also, they are willing to participate indeed to development of open source platforms and tools. And also, this kind of initiatives would allow the researchers to focus on real requirements from the cities that would come with one-to-one discussions, for example. So we are planning to have specific task groups in this alliance, in which we will have some technical discussions, building reference architectures, building some integration plans among different available components that will be present in this group: hardware, software, network components. We will have an important part will be indeed to organize these pilot deployments in partner cities that will allow us demonstrating those integration work. We would also like to focus on some non-technical task groups. For sure, business is important to indeed to promote some networking opportunities among the members, and also an important factor in this in the smart city domain is the social part. So not only technical, but also to remind that we have the citizen, which is the center of all the preoccupations, and we have to deal with also non-technical issues such as ethics, privacy, design, art, etc. So we have already established a core of the consortium with several cities confirm their interest of participation, in particular from Europe, Japan, and Korea. So with some research institutions, some small companies, and with some big companies in which we are also in discussion. So we will hopefully launch it officially in a couple of months. So we are now discussing the, the clarifying the key outcomes, the legal structure, and all of this stuff. So if you are interested in being part of it, either from the beginning, so now that we are defining the real content of this alliance, or after once it's created, so please let me know. I can keep you informed about the outcomes of these discussions. Thank you very much. So that's all for me. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer. Any questions for Haman? Seems not. Well, thank you very much. Thank you.